Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's dustinkreis and today we are going to do a game discussion over this game right here. Paper Mario on the N64. And let's just get right into it. This is a pretty perfect game. I was actually very surprised at just how much I was enjoying my time with this game. So much so that the last 2 days I've had free reign of the house, which is kind of why I am filming up here today. The wife has been busy with meetings and presentations. So I just brought an N64 up here, put this on, and been playing it up here in the living room. It's been very nice. I've just been hitting this game extremely hard the last 2 days. I've put more than half of the game finished in the last 2 days. So when I tell you it's pretty perfect, I mean it's pretty perfect. There's only really one gripe I have with it, and we'll get into that when we get to the gameplay. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about the storyline. Once again, Princess Peach is getting kidnapped by Bowser. Only this time he has stolen the Star Rod from this mythical item that has granted him a lot of power. So much so that Mario can't defeat him in the normal methods. So Mario has to set out on a quest to recapture, free the 7 star spirits in the hopes that these 7 star spirits will bestow upon him a power that can counteract the Star Rod, and he can once again save Princess Peach. You know, by this time, I would think Mario would wise up a little bit and say, hey, Princess Peach, screw you, I'm going to go with Daisy. But there must be something about her, man, that keeps him coming back for more. But, you know, the storyline, while it doesn't get as epic as other RPGs out there, you're going to have a lot of fun with this one. You're going to laugh. You're going to laugh a lot. You're going to be charmed by the humor of it, by the graphics, which we'll get to in a minute. But it's a very, very charming game, very, very charming story. You're not going to get like Final Fantasy VII epicness, but if you go into this game thinking you are, then maybe you need to rethink your priorities. That being said, though, if you pick this game up, you know, you will have a very fun time with it. I can't remember, and I meant to look it up on the computer before I started filming, but I failed in that. But I think this is on the Virtual Console as well. So if you can't get it in a hard copy, definitely look on there and see if it's on there. Definitely worth your time. The gameplay is really where this game excels. The storyline is okay. It'll keep you playing, it'll keep you entertained, but the gameplay is really where everything kind of comes together. In that it's a traditional RPG, turn-based battles and what have you, but you have a lot more control over enemies you fight, how you fight them, and such forth in other games. In that when you're walking around in the environments, you can clearly see the enemies there. And those enemies will try to attack you on screen, and you can try to attack them back. And if you successfully land a hit, either using Mario's hammer or jumping or using one of your partner's special abilities, you will initiate a first attack, which means you can attack those. You will do one attack on those enemies first. And I mean, it doesn't really change the tide of battle. The reason why you want to successfully get as many first attacks as you can, because if you fail, then the enemies can do a first attack on you. And this game is actually pretty challenging in some ways. You know, there's a couple of times that I just flat out died. And if you can avoid those first attacks, you can just you know, can make yourself last longer in these dungeons. You can only carry a certain amount of items with you, and you only have a certain amount of HP and flower points. And those actually, the flower points, you will spend those very quickly in battles. You'll be surprised at how often you use the special attacks to try to get rid of other things. Once you're in the battles, it's kind of like Super Mario RPG in that when you're fighting enemies and you select like Mario's jump ability, once you jump on the enemy, if you time the button press right, he will do a second jump on them and deal twice the damage. So it's one of those games where during the battles you really have to pay attention and you really have to get a sense of timing down, which I really kind of have a terrible sense of timing. So when I didn't have to use Mario's jump, I was always using his hammer because it was much easier to do the commands for the hammer than it is for me to time the jump. But yeah, battles get really challenging, and I was actually very surprised. You actually have to have quite a bit of skill to do this. My only real gripe with the game comes from that first attack bit, in that sometimes it felt like maybe the hit detection was off a little bit. Like I felt like I was up, because when you jump on an enemy, if you don't land like perfectly on top of them, it just counts as an encounter, which, you know, when you just bump into an enemy, it just starts the battle. There's no advantage or disadvantage. You just start a battle. And a lot of times I felt like I had jumped on an enemy and it treated it as I just walked into them. So some issues with hit detection, but nothing that it won't break the game. You'll just be like, I jumped on him, you know, one of those types of things. But really had a great time with this game. Leveling up is a bit weird. You gain star points, which once you get 100 star points, you can beef up an attribute. Either your HP, your FP, which is your flower points, or your badge points, which really how you strengthen Mario up is by equipping badges. And you'll find these, you know, throughout the stages, hidden in places. There's a store that will eventually open up in one of the towns that will sell you badges. You can trade star pieces that you find around there for really good badges at this one point. Lots of ways to get these things. You only have a finite amount of badge points to assign these badges to, and some of these great badges are like 6 points a piece. And like when I beat the game, I had like I maxed out at 30 badge points. So you really have to kind of weigh the pros and the cons of equipping these badges. But like I said, you put this game in and you play it and you're just going to have a hell of a time. It's a really fun game. The graphics, I really love the graphics in this game because it really gets around the limitations of the N64. You know, they built the N64 to be this 3D machine, but even then, there was PlayStation graphics that look better than the N64 in a lot of ways. But with this simple kind of paper, cartoony-esque graphical style, you really get a lot of bang for your buck. You know, the character models have a lot of great animations to them, like when Bowser gets angry and starts stomping his feet. For some reason, I found that to be incredibly just funny. Like every time he did it, I just started chuckling. I really loved when you play as Princess Peach in sort of the intermission stages. Whenever she goes up the stairs, you'll see her like pull her dress up a little bit so she doesn't step on it. It's just these little things, these little you know, bits of animation that really adds to the characterizations and really makes you kind of feel for these very cartoony characters. But there's just a real charm to the graphics, and I really enjoyed the graphics of Paper Mario. The music, it's really nice to hear the remixed Mario themes every now and then, but for the whole, the music's serviceable, but it never really caught my attention all that much. There's one piece of music that as you're heading to the area where you teleport into Star Haven, I can't remember what it's called, but it really had like kind of an Earthbound feel to it. I really enjoyed that track. But for the most part, you know, when you hear the remixed Mario themes that we all know and love, those are really good, but sort of the other music, it was kind of forgettable. But, you know, what are you going to do? But anyway, guys, Paper Mario on the N64, I highly recommend you check this game out. Like I said, you're not going to get an epic JRPG story, but you're going to get one of the best games on the system. Super fun. I still think Ogre Battle 64 is my favorite N64 game, but this might be my second favorite. I know it's kind of sacrilege, no Mario 64, but I really, really enjoyed my time with this. And I have played a little bit of Thousand Year Door, but I shelved it because I wanted to get this one first and beat this one. So now, sometime here in the near future, I will be putting Thousand Year Door back into the queue so I can play that, because I almost want to bring up the GameCube hook it up to the TV here and start playing Thousand Year Door. That's how much I love this game. So, yeah, guys, check this one out. But that's all for me right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.